Okay, so for the next step, after we've divided our lines, we are going to be picking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words to show what we're grateful for. So I'm going to do an example. You can look at the Google slide resources that are up on your lesson, where I'll provide you with a list of words that show gratefulness or thankfulness. You can also come up with your own. So I'm grateful for love. So I'm going to be demonstrating how to do your words for this. So you're going to take these 5 words, and each word is going to be written into one of the sections. So I'm going to start here, and I do want you to start with pencil, and I want you to start very lightly. With your words, you want to fill as much of the space as you can with the word you're writing. I would like you to use block lettering. I'll provide a PDF that shows you how to do this. I'm going to demonstrate, and I may provide you with a link to a tutorial that teaches you block lettering. So I want you to try doing block lettering for this, because we're focusing on line and color in this artwork, and so we want simplified lines using block letters. So I'm going to put love in the center because it's one of the things I'm most grateful for right now. And I'm going to start out by kind of, first of all, thinking about love is L-O-V-E. Make sure you spell your words correctly. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 letters. So I'm thinking about filling this space with 4 letters. Okay, so I'm going to kind of map that out lightly just by drawing in some sketch lines. So let's see, you can leave a little bit of room on each end. So I'll kind of just block that off to give myself the space I'm working in. Okay, so we can leave a little bit of a margin on each end of our word that we're doing. And now I've got to divide this into 4 sections. So I'm going to split it in half, and then split it in half again. These are just guidelines. They don't have to be perfect. Okay, now because we're using block lettering, this is going to help us. Having these sections will actually help us map out our word. Okay, so we have L for love. So if I draw an L here, right? Now I've got to turn my L into a block letter. So I'm going to use the outside of this square. I'm just going to lightly sketch this in so that if I make a mistake or I need to adjust it, I can. All right, now I'm going to make it thicker. And then I'm going to follow the diagonal here of this. And again, you can adjust these. These don't need to be super fat letters. But I do want them to be more than just a line. So that's why I want you using block letters. So we have L. I'm going to do O next. So I'm going to keep this. So we think about an O like this, right? Now with block letters, you're going to keep it block style. So we won't have any neat curves here. So what I'm going to do is think of this more as a box. So I'm going to come in and sketch out my O. I'm going to start it a little bit inside of the line that I drew here. And again, you can always adjust the placement. You lightly sketch it out with pencil first. You can always adjust later. And I am going to follow this line up here. So I'm going to go like this. And you know what, I'm going to have it come to the top actually. So that way I don't even have to draw that line. Okay, so sketching in my L, O, so I'm going to come back in. And I don't want you to copy my words exactly. If you choose to write love, that's fine. Maybe put it in a different spot. Or think about how you can still make your work your own, because I don't want this to be an exact copy of my work. This is a demonstration, and I want you to put your own spin on it. Think about what you're most grateful for, because you might be grateful for things that are a little bit different than an art teacher who's, you know, almost 40 and is a mom. You might be grateful for different things than I am as a 11 or 12-year-old student. Okay, so I've got my O sketched in. So now I'm going to come over here and do my V. And again, I'm thinking about block letters, so I'm not going to do any curves. And then I'm going to put my last letter in, which is my E. And again, these lines that I kind of mapped out earlier, these are helping me to determine how big my letters are and where I'm putting them. And I am doing all capitals for this. I would suggest you use all capitals too, and that your letters touch the bottom line and the top line. That's why we're using all capital letters, okay? So I'm gonna come in, plan out my E, sketching lightly, planning out your letters. Again, you know that you can always go back in and make adjustments to your letters once you've planned them out neatly. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Okay, so I've kind of sketched out my plan for the first thing I'm grateful for, which is love, using my block letters. Okay, so just for a review, the way I determined how I spaced this was I wrote my word out. You can do this on a scrap paper or very lightly. I counted the letters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Double check your spelling using your computer. Make sure you've spelled everything correctly. I will tell you, I am not the world's greatest speller, and I was a terrible speller when I was a kid. And there was nothing worse than making a beautiful piece of art only to have somebody tell me later that I had messed up the spelling. And I don't want that to happen to you. So double check your spelling before you write it out. Okay, so I have 4 letters. So remember, I came down here and I scooted in about an inch because it's a shorter word. And then I marked out 4 sections, 1 for each letter, okay? I then used those sections to help me plan out my block letters. Again, I will provide some resources on block lettering, but you've just seen me do this. There aren't going to be any curves in your block letters. They're all going to be sharp lines, okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up and add in the rest of my words, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the next step in the assignment. Okay, so it took me about an hour, maybe a little bit more than that, to sketch out all of the words using block style, words that represent things I'm grateful for. And before I finished this, I wanted to take a second to show you how I cleaned the letters up after I sketched them. So if you look at the bottom of my paper, this is what it looks like initially when I sketch it out. I'm kind of lightly planning out where it's going to go and what the block letters are going to look like. So I'm going to show you how I get from this to something that looks more like these. Okay, and this is optional. You don't have to use this technique, but I thought I'd share it with you since it's something I did. So I did take a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you could use a card, an old birthday card, Christmas card, anything that has a nice straight edge on it to help you with this. I do have a ruler, so I'm going to go ahead and just show you. So I had my sketch lines in, so I'm going to use that as a guide, and I'm just going to put my ruler down. I'm going to erase with my eraser, and then I'm going to put that line in very neatly now with my ruler, okay? So I'll show you how to do the letter H, and hopefully this will help you improve the quality of the way your letters look. So I will point out here that I am following the slant of that line when I'm putting the slant in here with my letter E. Okay, so now you see what it looks like in comparison to how it started, using the ruler to help me clean up my guidelines. Now again, you can clean up words without using the ruler technique, and that is perfectly fine with me. It's definitely doable. But I wanted to show you that trick in case you want to use it to make your letters look really nice and neat.